Okay, I am back to this project, and as you can see, I made a whole bunch of Dresden Plate sunflowers earlier this summer and have played with the positioning of them. I had it up on my makeshift design wall, which maybe I'll show you at another time, and I started appliquing them down. And so, see if I can move these under. These on this side, I started appliquing down with an invisible thread on my machine. And I was experimenting with either a small zigzag or a hem stitch. And it looks good and everything, but I'm gonna say I didn't like maneuvering this, all the little points, you know, turning it, stopping needle down, all the things with my machine. I was like, there's just so much, and I'm sorry my table is wiggly. That's another story. I'm gonna try not to lean against it as I film. Anyway, because so much of this quilt is hand pieced, all the paper pieced background. I did not hand piece the rosettes. I thought about it. I think I even experimented a little bit with it, but found that I'm gonna baste while I talk, because I'll get there. I don't know if this is the right needle. It's the needle I could grab quickly, but it might not be the right needle. Anyway, I played with trying to paper piece or hand piece these rosettes, but it wasn't working for me. It was easier to, I did a lot of fiddling to get them, and as you can see, I tried to do different size, diameter size, obviously, but also the number of petals on these rosettes, these Dresden plates, sunflowers, whatever, to, you know, have a little variety and experiment, learn something new. I've never done this before, and I didn't exactly have the right tools, and I didn't want to go out and buy more tools. Anyhow, I got them done. And then, so now I'm back to attaching them to the background fabric, and I have decided that a small hand applique is going to be the way I want. And I have them all pinned on here, but, oops, I am not enjoying holding them in my lap while I hand applique with all the pins in them. So I decided I would chat with you while I basted these all the other rosettes on. This was supposed to be my summer project. It's been over a year in making, with the paper piece background, with the hand-dyed fabrics, and then I let it sit because I wasn't sure. I had a vision of what I wanted to do with it, and the general thing is what's happening here. But the specifics have changed, although I didn't really have specifics. I really didn't know what I was going to do. I had an idea. Sorry about the wiggle. I got it. Anyway, I knew I wanted it to look like a flower garden, and I didn't know if I wanted to applique, machine, embroider. I knew I didn't want to do that, but the thought passed briefly through my brain. Or, hand stitch, but because of the scale, I wanted big. And then somewhere along the line, and I have lost the source of the inspiration now because it's been so long, I saw Dresden Plate. And I said, those look like sunflowers. Well, see now, originally, it wasn't supposed to be sunflowers. Originally, I had been extremely inspired by poppies. I had watercolored a few poppies, and do I have a wrinkle under here? What's going on? It's kind of a lump. I don't know. I guess it's just seam allowances coming together. And I just wanted to do poppies, and I thought this would be really pretty. As you can see somewhere here under my pincushion, I even did some flowers in the paper piecing, in the hexagons. There's a sunflower over here and a pink one over here. They didn't happen by happenstance, but they also kind of happened by happenstance. They weren't placed specifically anywhere. They just landed where they landed. Anyway, so I tried with poppies, but these shapes just don't look like poppies, as you can see. Well, I wasn't doing the really multi-petaled ones, but then I tried some multi-petaled ones because I thought I could, if I rounded the edges, I could get more of a poppy look. Anyhow, played a lot with it. I played with the poppy idea for a while. I got some different red batiks and red fabrics, and I lost my needle. I'm gonna go with that one. Even got some black ink, like Inktense and others, to try to make the black centers, thinking then I would, you know, add stamens and things with embroidery. But I just couldn't get them to look right. And I had originally, before I got on this, maybe that was what I was doing before I found got the inspiration for Dresden Plate. And I just kept working it, trying to make, I didn't want them to be too realistic, because I wanted it to be kind of, well, I wanted, the background's very impressionistic, you know, kind of blurry, kind of, you know, idea of that these are in front of a big flower field or flower garden and all the colors are popping through. And so I didn't want to do like a hyper-realistic kind of applique with stitching. I'd still want to do that on a different piece, but not this piece. And so I, like I said, was inspired somewhere along the line in the last 3 or 4 months and to try my hand at Dresden Plate. And so here we are. I pulled out a bunch of oranges and yellows. These are batiks. I don't know what, I think that's some hand dyed my sister sent me, or yeah. And I know the yellow is an ice dye. This is actually a batik yellow. Anyway, mostly these are all batiks, with a little bit of just cotton, Kona cotton dyed somehow or other. Anyway, so I started playing with that, and I experimented, like I said, with the different number of petals, and I even tried some double petals, you know, doing a narrow row of petals and then kind of tucking them underneath, so you had kind of doubles. It looked cool, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. Like, I couldn't get it to work quite right. I'll return to that experiment another time. Of course, this project has been interrupted, as mine always seem to be, with family emergency situations. So here we are, Dresden Plate, batiks, English paper piecing, hand stitching, hand applique. I think we're going to have something pretty cool when I'm done. So then after, obviously, I'm getting these all basted down so that I can hand stitch them without being poked. Then, of course, there needs to be some kind of circle in the middle. And I played a little bit with that. I mean, obviously I can do it the traditional Dresden Plate way, cuts, applique a circle of fabric. I had one laying on here once. I don't know what happened to it in the interim, but anyway. But I also have been playing, at least with the ones with the smaller center circle, with doing some hexagons. I think that is logical, but some of these obviously have much bigger holes, but I could do bigger hexagons. Hold that thought. Hey, kitten, kitten. For a different project, which may or may not ever see light of day, I've been making different size hexagons. I mean, I have a really big one. That actually might work on that big one. I think it's too big, but I could do that. Too big for that one. But I can make different sizes. Are these bigger or smaller? Same size, same size. So that's an idea to continue the hexagon theme. I could do that. I can do circles. I could also do yo-yos / Suffolk puffs. Suffolk? Is that how? Yeah, that's what they are. And I might do all of the above. I do like yo-yos. Because, yeah, I really do. And my idea originally from the get on this one was I wanted to use very traditional quilting techniques, specifically English paper piecing, Dresden plate, etc., in a different, more modern way. Again, I think I've said this before, but it could have been something I taped and I recorded and never saw the light of the editing room, but I know that's not an original idea. Anybody who goes to a quilt show will see lots of modern quilts using traditional techniques. So it's not a unique idea. Is there anything? There are. Actually, I haven't been to a good quilt show in a while. I need to go to one now that I'm getting back into quilting again. But if you've gone to a quilt show or even seen one on somebody on like a video attending them, there are lots of people doing just exactly, what I'm talking about. And I was going to say, I don't know, is there anything that is new in the quilting world? Not meaning like everybody's copying each other, but that, somebody hasn't already tried it. But as soon as I started to say that, I realized how very wrong that was, because I have seen some amazing stuff. And in many ways, the technology keeps changing, and we keep coming back to old techniques with new technology, new things. Like, for instance, I guess I'm on a ramble, so here you go. Enjoy. I was trying to do some photo transfer earlier this summer. I had so many plans for so many interesting videos for y'all, but death happened, to be honest. Not life. I mean, it's part of life, right? But back to what I was saying. I needed to do some fabric or photo transfers onto fabric for an unrelated project. And I had some materials around. I had some things around that I had used in the past or had collected. If I ever do get that video together, I will tell you. I just got a knot here somewhere. My lesson in that was use your stuff. Because if you hang on to it for a decade or more than likely, it ain't going to be any good anyway. So you might as well just use it. Anywho, in my experiments in fabric transfer and printing photo transfer and printing things on fabrics and things and trying to transfer it with all different kinds of mediums, etc., etc., I had mixed results. It's kind of cool, but I knew I realized I was using techniques I had used decades ago. And so I did a little research and I found, oh, there's all kinds of new things that you can use to transfer photos onto fabric or images onto fabric, to use in quilting and art collage, fabric collage, and that kind of thing. So that's a little tangent and an aside, and maybe a tease for a future video if I find that footage and pull that stuff back out again. Anyhow, it's been so long since I made a video, and I feel like I'm just really out of it. Where was I going with that? I don't remember. Oh, back to what I started with, which was, yeah, the inspiration, the techniques, where this quilt, you know, it's not going to be a quilt. Obviously, it's going to be quilted. That can be a discussion. I've heard that discussion a number of times over the years. What constitutes a quilt? If it is fabric pieced together in some way, and then backed with another piece of fabric with something in the middle, a piece of flannel, a traditional batting / wadding, an old blanket, a pile of cotton, a pile of wool. Okay, y'all, I gotta turn this and hope it stays on camera so that I can not have to reach so far and lose my thread. That's what I should change my channel name to, is Losing My Thread. Because it would have a double meaning. I like things with like kind of a dad pun kind of thing, because I'm always losing the thread of my thoughts as I ramble here. And actually, I'm also losing my needle. Do I have to go back and look the footage to see where I put it? Because these are not the ones I was using. Put your needle back in your cushion when you set it down. And because I turned the quilt, I didn't get that one basted. All right, y'all. Losing my thread, losing my needle, losing my mind, obviously. What the heck? Okay, I gotta go find another one. Maybe I can find a better one. I know in the other room with my hand stitching stuff, I have a packet of very nice Sashiko needles, which would be perfect for this job. But here we are, farting around, figuring it out, making do with what we got. So I think I was on a ramble about what constitutes a quilt, and that was just a sidebar of this will be a quilt in the sense that it will be backed. It will be have some kind of inside to it, batting, probably just a very thin, lightweight cotton batting, or cotton poly batting, since it's going to ultimately be a wall hanging. So it will be I guess it could be called an art quilt, a wall quilt, wall hanging. I don't know why I'm so stuck on the semantics of it right now, but yeah. I even debated, and it's not done yet, so this might still happen. You can weigh in the comments on what you think, what your opinion, what you would do. I was also debating not necessarily putting a batting in it, a wadding in it, and instead I would put some kind of stabilizer fabric on the back, some kind of woven or something, because I've moved it around so many times and hung it on the design wall and all the things, rolled it up and moved it, that it's already kind of getting distorted, because as you can imagine, hexagons don't have a lot of kind of bias edges to them in a way. They're not square, and they're not necessarily cut. I tried to cut them on the square, but hey. Anyway, so it would need some kind of stabilizing backing, no matter if I was to hang it or whatever. So that said, I have been debating to make it more art piece like, building a frame just out of, I don't know, thin, kind of like not picture frame, like stretcher bar type thing. And then doing exactly that, stretching it around and stapling it or what have you around a wooden frame, more like a stretched canvas. That thought has gone through my mind a number of times. So that may still happen. It might be an interesting experiment. It might be something I need to do on a smaller piece just to try and see how it goes before I move on to this piece. I don't know. So if you have an opinion, if you've seen it done, if you've done it, I did watch K3N. Okay, this is going in here, and then I won't lose it. I still don't know what happened to the other one. It'll fall on the floor and I'll step on it, and then we'll know where it is, right? Yes. I was watching Catherine Chambers, K3N's video earlier this summer. And she did do some smaller, like 8x8, I think they were, stitch pieces that because they were going to go into a show, call for work. She had specifics that she had to, abide by. And see, this one's all wavy and wonky, but I think you can hide and flatten a lot of things just through using lots of stitching. Anyway, she was doing these pieces, and she showed how she put them on she covered actual canvases, which I could do, but to buy a canvas this size and then just cover it with fabric seems redundant when I have a miter saw and all the tools that I would need to make what I need out of wood to make a hanging frame. And it wouldn't just have to be a wooden frame. It'd have to be a wooden frame with some cross bracing in it because it would warp. But I think I can do that. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It just needs to be fairly smooth, and it needs to be square so that I can put this on. But that will be a future video. If I do that, well, however I finish this, it will be that I'm going to just keep doing this project as I do it, as I get to it. And sharing the progress with you. And I apologize, I think I skipped some progress steps, specifically making the Dresden plates and designing, putting it on the board. If I can find that footage, it will be in this video. So this is the problem with making videos in multiple filming sessions over a long period of time and then getting interrupted in the middle and having to put everything aside. So anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at with this. So I'm just going to keep basting all the way around. Got this flower to do and that little red one I missed. And then I will come back and show you how I'm going to hand applique, or how, yeah, they got to be appliqued down before I can put the centers in. And yeah, so let me hit pause now that I'm at the end. Oh, not quite. I got one more petal to baste. These are going, this basting stitch obviously is big and ugly, and it's going to come out when this is all done, because no point in doing invisible baste on something this size and this way of doing it. All right, I'll be back after everything is basted. I am going to take this and start I'm going to turn on something on TV or a podcast, and I'm going to sit here and start hand appliquing. But I might not do him yet, these two, because I think they might go away. I think they might go away. I felt like, though, if this one went away, this one's kind of floating by itself down here. And I really like the way I did the petals on this one, because I didn't have enough of either one fabric left over. So I kind of like this one. He should have been here, maybe. I don't know. Let's find out when it's finished, which might be 2027 at this rate. But so there is a show at a gallery here locally in the spring that I would really like to enter this in. So it's got to be one of my winter projects. All right, enough rambling. I'm going to go work. Okay, friends. Well, that was those videos you just watched. That whole section was recorded much earlier this summer. So I wanted, before I ended this video, to catch you up to where I am now with this project. And to be quite frank, I'm not much further than what you just saw. So here is where I'm at. I do have the centers put on the flowers. And as you can see, I did browns for most of them, and I did just circles. There are a couple, like that one there, that I did a, let's see, what's there, let me look. It's been a minute since I've looked at this baby. I guess, I'm also trying to find the top. Okay, this is the top of it. I'll roll back and see if I can get more of it in. Okay, so the centers are all, everything is appliqued on, and the centers are all made and appliqued on. I did have to dye some more fabric to make the centers, so I guess I just really didn't have anything brown or much brown, so I just took a piece of cotton fabric and did a little dyeing of that. I also, when I did that, dyed some embroidery floss to match, and that is the next step that we're at in the next video. Whenever that happens, I'll share that with you, of embellishing these with hand stitching. And I'm still playing with some ideas there, so that's why it hasn't started. It's still percolating. But I wanted to show you where I am now with it. And I'm very happy with how it's turning out. I think it's going to be a fun, beautiful piece. So if you still have any input on how I should finish this, how I should mount it, and or, make it ready for hanging, I have ideas again, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. But I will be sure to share it with you when I get there. I've got a bunch of basting that I just watched myself as I was editing what I have so far. Based all this. It's been a minute. Anyway, I've been very lax in showing you this project. Not by intention, just by circumstance. So here we are. It is ready for the next step. I just wanted to come on and close out this video with some closure, some sense of progress, maybe. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And as always, peace out. Love you lots. Take care of yourself. And I will see you back here soon. I hope. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.